y'all. I'm living my life like it's golden, golden. Living my life like it's golden, golden. Oh, living my life like it's golden, 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 golden. Hey, good morning, good morning. It says I'm live. I'm all the way live. Yes, yes, yes. Good morning. Are you living your life like it's golden yet? Oh my goodness, my goodness. It's Friday, y'all. I just can't believe how often I say it's Friday. It just is amazing to me. How are you? I hope and trust that your Thursday was amazing and good. Yesterday, mine was really busy, but really, really good. I got a chance to talk to Dr. Brown, which is always it's just fabulous. And I have been reading an essay by one and only Bayo Akafamunde. Akafam, yes, I've been reading a essay by Bio, and that thing just has me like, I read part of it for you yesterday, and so that is just like bing bing bing. It's so good, it's so good. And so I'm taking it, and so for me, I like to move slowly through things sometimes because I want to get the full effect of it. It's kind of like, when I don't know about you, but sometimes you can eat so fast that you don't even really notice that you didn't take the time to savor the flavors. And so I have read authors who every word is so dense with nuance and meaning. So you just can't read a sentence and skip over it like it's only like a couple of words in there that matter or that have context. It's like when I read Martin Luther King, there are, he breathes life into his words. This guy, Jitterbug Perfume, I think I've mentioned him before. Let me see. Uh, yes, this one right here, Jitterbug Perfume by Tom Robbins. This one was really a good book. And when it says it's an epic, it was truly an epic. And so there was just so much that, as I read through this, it was so good. And I just, a good book is just worth its weight in gold. So when I read Jitterbug Perfume, it was one of those things. I like books that make you stretch. And so Marianne Williamson is another person that I just really love to read. And so now that I'm reading Bayo's essay, oh my gosh, it's so good because like you'll be jogging along and think that you know what it means to be fugitive in your own body, right? To have an idea of, of what that means, only to kind of like back up a little bit and say, whoa, wait a minute. What is that? And so I love stuff that causes you to think and then rethink, or to put things in new context. So stuff like that excites me. When I talk about reading, it excites me. So yesterday that was good. I went to a meditation last night, and that was at Renaissance Unity. And as you guys will know, or maybe if you watch me on a regular basis, about a month or two ago, I went to another meditation, like a weekend meditation retreat there. And so this was kind of like, do I want to say a follow up, a tighten up? But and so this time we walked away with a game plan. Like we came together as a group and we meditated together. And then we, given a little script, and then we go home and for the next 10 days to do this hour-long meditation every day for 10 days, and then we meet back up. And so it was good last night. This morning I woke up at my appointed time, and I sat for an hour in meditation, and so that was good, just to be able to to sit and yes, and I don't know if you're a meditator or not, but since I meditate, it is sometimes it's so sometimes I don't even remember when I get up, there sometimes it's like like in the midst of a meditation, you might see colors or feel sensations or thoughts float in and float out or whatever. But Joe Dispenza has these guided meditations that are online, and what he's doing is he's talking you through these meditations, but he talks through it in a sort of an abstract kind of way. But what happens for me is that like he says, that when I get up, I feel better than when I sat down. I don't know that I get up thinking that I'm a whole new person, but I certainly get up with this buoyant feeling of rightness, and I know the power of meditation when you are basically meditating purposefully, not just kind of sitting there and let's sit and listen. I am all for the expansion project, right? The expansion project. So I have set some intentions for this next 10 days of meditations. I plan to do it every single day and see how that, flavors and colors my perception and my world. I am looking forward to this. And so, let's, watch and see. Let's watch and see. And I love the fact that here I get to chronicle my stuff, so you can see the metamorphoses as it goes. It's so funny because a lot of times I don't know that we notice what's right before us when it's right before us. Are you like that? Are you one of those people that can see the changes in yourself? I just wonder if, and how much you pay attention. Is there a desire or an expectation for change for you, right? Is it just year after year, the same old stuff, and you're just kind of like, kind of just living through it without the expectation of difference coming or happening for you? I just wonder what others' experiences are. Even as I read my own writing, like I'm working on this book, I'm really in the editing stages of this book. But even as I read what I've written before, I can see and feel changes within me. Now, I will tell you, I need to put a period in it and let it go, because if I'm rewriting the book that I've just written based on, this book was written where I was last year. I'm in a new place today. Oh my God, I'm in a new place today. And to me, it's juicy good. It's always interesting to me, the numbers of people that tell me that they haven't changed. Like, oh, I haven't changed since da-da-da, right? That is nothing to brag about. Good morning, grand rising to you, Walker. That is nothing to brag about. This idea of staying the same. All of us ought to have an expectation of growth in our life, of maturing. You know, I'll tell y'all. I gotta tell y'all this because I just think it's one of those things that I like to sort of talk about is like you know how do I say this, like it's kind of like this idea that growth. Hola, Sarika, how are you? Yes, 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 yes. Praise God. Yes, thank you, babe. So there is this, you know, I've talked about this before. When a bird sits on its egg, right? There is a fixed amount of time that bird gets the opportunity to grow, so that what was what we see as a yolk, but what was an embryo before, then turns into other things. And once that bird gets so big, the egg naturally cracks. And out comes this chick, and for a time, it is totally dependent on the mother for food and nourishment, but it comes out, it cracks. And there is no uncracking an egg. There is no putting it back together and saying, I'm not ready for you yet. Expansion is what happens to all of us. When you, at a certain point, when that gestation period is over with, your mama had to squeeze you out. Whether she squeezed you out or you was born by C-section, you had to come out. There is no putting you back. There is no shoving you back up in there. It just does not happen. And so at every stage of our development, there is the next stage that is waiting for us. And you cannot contract and go back to the one previous before. By necessity, you have to grow forth. And there's so many people that fight this thing of growing, or thinking that once you get to a certain age or a certain plateau, you should stop growing. That's a doggone lie. Right? Now, I will tell you that a lot of people will talk about this thing because it says it in the Bible that once an adult, twice a child. And so after you get to a certain age, there seems to be a regression. But most of y'all stop growing after you get out of high school and then think something is cute about that. Or think that there's something that, you ought to get some accolades for. That, no. Oh, I haven't changed. What? Grow up. I know I'm not talking to anybody here. I know that if you are listening to me, that is not your issue. I get that. But at the same time, what we do is we also have to watch the company that we keep and the expectations that we have around that. And so, whether, and I get you, Walker, growth, intentional or unintentional, happens. It's the way of the universe, right? It's the way of the universe. As long as you are alive, the life flowing through you, growth is going to happen, right? Whether you intend it or not, it's going to happen. So, like me, I don't want to say I got control issues, but if the shoe don't fit, take it off. I am intentional with my growth, but I know that not everybody is. Some people, it will happen kind of like accidentally. It'll happen accidentally. I'm just going to say it that way. But for many people, this idea of growth happening is just out there. So let me read for you what the daily guide is for today. Where is this? I'm going to read for you the daily guide of today, and then we will go on with my talking. And Sarika, this morning I played twice. I played it 2 times. Friday is my day. Because, I have to get, ever since you told me about that song, I try to play it like, every week so that I can get into this Friday is my day kind of, thought, thing. Because, for me, I'll just say it like this. For me, with the exception of Sundays, most days are exactly the same. I get up at 5:30 and I expect to be in here at about 8 o'clock. And so most days look almost the same, regardless of what I'm doing. So when Friday comes around, when Friday rolls around, I got to remind myself that it's Friday because other people are excited about it being Friday. So I play the song Friday is my day. And so thank you for that. I always appreciate stuff like that. It's Friday. So, and as Winnie would say, it's Friday. Instead of Friday. So there you have it. And so today is Friday, and I am reading I am reading from the Daily Guides, which is in the Science of Mind magazine, and this month they were written by Reverend Marilyn Louise Leo. Okay, there we go. So here it is. And her title today is called Be Guided by the Wisdom Within. Be Guided by the Wisdom Within. And so the poetic quotation that she uses is from Quarles. And it says, but sacred wisdom doth apply that good which simple knowledge barely understood. Let me read that again. But sacred wisdom doth apply that good which simple knowledge barely understood. That sounded worse the second time when I read it. Anyway, whatever. And then from Ernest Holmes, not whatever, but sacred wisdom doth apply that good which simple knowledge barely understood. Okay. So from Ernest Holmes, the quote out of 365 Science of Mind is, there is one wisdom, one intelligence, one mind. I live, move, and have my being in this one. Every act, thought, and purpose is guided by this wisdom. So, as a philosophy major too, I will tell you that there were always philosophers who believe that there is a perfect state. There is this one perfect state, and everything that we see is based on or derivations is the word I want to use. Differentiations of that one power, that one presence, that one energy, that one perfection. And so that is that's something that is like an ongoing thing through a lot of these teachings. So here is what she wrote about this today. There are many activities in our daily lives about which we make choices and at the same time wonder if we have made the right choice for a particular situation. When we are young, we do not have the experience of life to help guide us. As we mature, we expect to have some of that experience and therefore may be guided by the wisdom life has brought us. But even with age, we may be so involved with the collective world thought that we slide into an old way of thinking and doing. We may forget that our spiritual guidance is waiting to help us and show us the best way to experience our highest expression of good. When a person asks for our help in making a choice, we usually are flattered and Of course, know what the best resolution is, or at least we think we do. But is that the wise way to respond? Perhaps helping guide another to create their own choice would be a better idea. Perhaps helping them look within for their solutions, knowing that this could be a teachable moment, would be a wiser choice. Hopefully, the wisdom we have gained, not learned, from their life experiences will be shared. First, let us learn to seek our own guidance, for within each of us is the power of choice, of humility, of sacred unity with the one in whom we live. Let's take just a moment to silently and consciously seek our own guidance to assist the other person. Share your understanding, your essence, your kindness, your blessing. Know that within you and within the person seeking your help is the answer, the guidance to express that person's highest good. The affirmation that goes with that is love and wisdom are mine to share this day. Now, y'all know I got thoughts about that. And let me share my thoughts about that by sharing with you. I don't know why she's up here with me now. Let me share my little thoughts about that by telling you that back in the day, I tell you, I love learning. Did you get that from me so far? Whether it's reading or taking classes, participating in meditation, doing exploratory stuff, I love learning. So some years ago, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, I took a class in psychic development. This was prior to 9/11. So, because I remember, the context around some of that. So, I don't know what's matter with you, little girl. But whatever he is, not right now, boo. Figure it out. So, I hope it's not that she has to use the bathroom, because, they go at about when I get off of here at 10. So it was around this 9/11 time, and I'm taking a class called Psychic Development. I took it from a woman who is a very gifted psychic. As a matter of fact, she not only did she do that for people around in the area, but she used to travel quite a bit with this. And so I was taking a class from her on this. And in this class, we learned how to connect our heart space with another's and to give readings. It was really interesting because I also learned how to look at people and look for spirit guides in their energy and listen deeply, all of that stuff. I was learning those things. And it was so interesting because even after the class was over with, I wanted to meet with this group and practice this as a skill. And it was always like people would come to the thing and they would ask you mundane questions about stuff like, I just met this guy. Can you tell me if he's the one? Or I want to buy a car. Is this a good time to buy a car? They would ask the most mundane questions. And I remember sitting there watching these people as we were going through this, thinking consciously in my mind that these people are giving away their power to what they perceive as the authority, someone else's authority. And so right off, I was thinking to myself, like, this is not cool. So when 9/11 happened, we all decided that we would get together and have what was considered a seance at the time. I would say it like that. Although there was no like candles lit and no holding hands and all of that stuff. There was none of that stuff. Are you sure, Walker, that my screen froze? Because I see your thing, and so when I'm really stuck, it usually is I don't see anything. So I'm wondering if that's on your end. But somebody else, if I'm stuck and can't get out, let me know. But I guess if I'm really stuck and can't get out, then I won't know, right? But bear with me. Hey, good morning, Val. So in this class, everybody is sitting around and they're asking all these questions. So when 9/11 came and we decided we were going to have this sort of a seance thing, we all got together in this, it was a whole room full of people, and we started meditating. And, there were people that we were sensing this, what you might sense when people, the confusion of people who have now died and are like sitting up there thinking like, wait, what happened, kind of thing. So as we dropped into this meditation, and everybody is sharing their experience, and somebody said we should lead people to the light. We should take them to the light, explain to them what happened and take them to the light, like we were going to be escorts. And I'm sitting there in this room, and it's all these people, like let's say there's maybe 17, 18 of us, and we're all there. Maybe only 3, 4 of us were black. But we're all sitting in this room, and and everybody is making it seem like we're on a mission, like, oh, and we should take down some phone numbers and call people and act like this go-between. And I'm sitting there in meditation, y'all. And it was as if somebody, and I always talk about it because it came up on the right side of me. And it was like, it said to me that this is not your job. And it slammed the door on me, and I jarred out. I mean, it was like it shook me to the point where my eyes popped open. And when my eyes popped open and I had gotten that, I stood up. I went and, and I stepped over people. I was stepping over people heading for the door. And that was the last time I ever tried to do any psychic stuff for anybody. Because what I got on a very clear basis is that there was a division of responsibility, just like we have on a job or any place else. You got work that you are supposed to be doing. And that wasn't my role. It wasn't my job. I ain't got nothing about what everybody else was supposed to be doing. But what I knew is that the division of labor said that this is not what your role is. That you've got a role to play with people who are alive and well and in their bodies on this planet, not up there trying to guide somebody else who is now supposed to be crossing over to the other side. That was not my responsibility. And so a lot of times I see people all the time who are trying to do things that are not theirs to do. And so when I have people asking me stuff like, whether it is advice or anything else like that, what you will see is I'm going to tell you my experience. I got stories. I got stuff that has happened throughout my life. Sometimes I can't remember what happened yesterday, but I can remember stories about my life. And so I got a story for you. Just like I just told you one, I got a story for that. And if that story is something that helps, because that's what I get when I open up and I'm asking, what is it that I'm supposed to share here? What is it that I'm supposed to give here? I give you my story. My thing is not to make your choices and your decisions for you. So this woman sitting up there saying, oh, I feel so good when somebody comes to me and asks me for advice. No, I'm not trying to, like I'm the great and powerful Oz. I'm not trying to give nobody advice like that. What I'm trying to do is tell you my lived experience. My lived experience may not be like yours, but let's see what is in there. It's kind of like my mother's purse that I'm always talking about. I reach my hand down there. Sometimes I find some crap in there that's like, oh my, why do you have this in your purse? But sometimes you come out with some really good stuff. Oh, I forgot I put that in there. Oh, whatever. But it is to look down in there, to feel around and see what's there for you. If you've been trying to regress, if you haven't grown, if that's your thing, then see what area in your life this brought up a thought about. And for me, that's one of the ways that I approach things. Like, what is this? Even when I wake up, if I got a song on my mind, lately that the song has been coming, Burn Baby Burn, Disco Inferno. I keep hearing that darn song. It seems like every day. And so I keep going around like, what is that song trying to say to me? Right? I don't need somebody else to interpret it for me, because what it does is it takes me back to a point in time in my life, not in somebody else's life, but in my life. And so when I think about what was happening at another time that I may have encountered that song or heard that song or whatever, just to sit in that energy of what is that speaking to me? What is it telling me? Because it's my reference points. And so for everybody, it becomes this thing of Spirit is showing you something in your life. It's speaking to you and your circumstances. And so you hear, hey, James, so you hear what you're supposed to hear based on what's going on for you in your experience. And then you connect the dots so that you can have an understanding of what you're supposed to get from it. And so a lot of times what we do is I'm learning so much from my niece. My niece is, I've been helping her with her homework. And when she doesn't want to do something, she has this tendency of just zoning out, right? Of like, that's just, like, she don't want to go there. And so what she does is she wants to zone. And so what I'm doing is the moment she zones, it's like I'm going back at her like, wait, hold on, where'd you go? I do my dogs like that. Where'd you go? Let's make some eye contact here. Let's, don't leave me here. Don't leave me hanging. And so it becomes this thing. I see it all the time when I'm speaking, when I go out to churches and stuff like that. Sometimes people will, it's almost like you trigger something in them and they go, but then they come back. And so this, it's not a bad thing when people get caught up in thought, because you'll do it over and over again. It's not bad. But if you just like let it go and don't think or don't circle back on it like it has something for you, you sometimes lose some really good stuff, something that was meant for you. Spirit is like that. Spirit will come and it'll give you a flash, like a breadcrumb. It'll just be a little thing. But that little thing, that person that popped into your mind, or a situation that happened at one time or something. It'll be a little thing, and you've got to go down the rabbit hole to retrieve the messaging that is in there. If you don't, you might be sitting there thinking like, dang, I was praying for the answer. I was looking for the reasons behind this, but it didn't come. Yes, it came, but you didn't follow it to its logical end. And that's part of what has to happen when you're doing a math problem. I may ask, we were doing this multiplication table, y'all. I worked on this with my niece, and we were doing this multiplication table, and there were these moments of, like, she wanted to quit, or to, like, okay, I'm up to no, it's like we gonna follow this through. And now that we've got this, let me show you how to use it in this context. Like, let me show you how you do division with this. Let me show you how multiplication works with this. Let me show you how to problem solve based on this. Because if you go to sleep, then you don't get the answer, or you don't get the practice or the awareness and how this thing works. Everything in life is like that, right? So it becomes this thing of not just getting up here and talking or hearing something and then letting it go. It's it's kind of like solving the problem, not just till I get, this goes into a number so many times. You got to get down to it until you get the remainder. If hers, on her level, she's got a remainder 2, right? Now, when we were solving problems, we had to take it to the next step. Let's turn that remainder into another number. Let's turn it into a fraction. And it's not complete until it's all the way complete. Most people want to just sit there and just, roundabout, oh, it's roundabout this, it's roundabout that, without necessarily looking at it and saying, let me work this to its logical conclusion. That's where we get the real blessing from. So if you are, right now, because of this, this workshop I went to yesterday, it's a setting an intention. What's the intention? What do you want? If you were to set an intention for yourself right now, right? Think about what it is that you would be intending. What do you want? Now, when I first said this, when I first did the exercise, I was like thinking, what is it that I'm desiring? What is it that I want to work on? And so a lot of times we come up with something that is nebulous. Nebulous meaning it's so fluid that you don't exactly have a marker of when it will come into fruition. It could be, if, say, for instance, I put down that my intention was to have to be transcendent, or to to be so one with spirit or God that I get lost in it. I don't know. But if I put down something like that, how do I have a marker that says I have arrived? You've arrived, right? You are here. How do you get that marker when you've got something? And some people might already say, darn it, you already there, girl. Do you not? Right? Or some other people might say, you know what, that's not possible. I don't know. But if I was to put that down and hold to that, what's the line of demarcation that says you've arrived? Now, this one lady was talking about, she said that she just wanted to be pain-free, right? That was her whole thing. And so she says that I know when I will be pain free because I walk around in pain all the time, which, my heart breaks in situations like that. But for so many of us is, how do you know when you've arrived? Is it a dollar amount that you're after? Is it a certain awareness that you're after? Is it, because when some people talk about it, it's like I'm already, I say to people already, I am so happy. I am a joy filled person. So it's not that I'm waiting for something to happen so that I'm happy and get joy. No, that's not it. I mean, there are certain things that I want to accomplish, but I'm already freaking happy. I'm already feeling this level of joy within me that is just, whew, just so good. So then what we're talking about then is how do we set an intention for something that is clear, right? If you've got a desire for something, and that desire you know when you've arrived, what would that be? And so I had to come down out of my lofty space in my head, in the eye cloud, as Dr. Brown talked about. I got to come out of that heady space and come back into this, and then it says figure out an intention on a playful level, and then figure out one on a serious level. So I was like, okay, I need to have this book done, right? I need it done. I need to have a physical, completed, right? That is my intended. Now, my playful over there, I ain't gonna necessarily tell y'all that, but it's just when you think about having something that you are focused in on, think about what it is that you want to bring about. And it talks about, they talked about this feeling. How does it feel when you've arrived? How does it feel? If I'm already happy, is there such a thing as happier? I think that there is a feeling of satisfaction, of completion, of accomplishment. I can tune into that frequency. I can tune in there. But to go for happy, ooh, y'all. Ooh. Yeah, okay, and on some level, let's I can talk about the pride that I will feel. I can talk about the security that might bring, that might come with it. So when we're talking about feelings, he also said that a lot of times people will pray about money. And he says, and it's not necessarily the money that they're after, but rather the freedom that comes from the money. The freedom to make choices about what you do, where you go, and when. And so he says you've got to look at it in the sense of getting a hold of the feeling that you are after. So if the feeling is one of freedom, the feeling is one of, I'm able to make a decision if I want to travel on the weekend, or if I want to, eat a decadent meal, or if I want to, send some money to Sandra, or if I want to do something, right? The freedom to do that is the feeling that somebody is after. Now, on the other hand, it is this other part is just depending upon something else. Like if you're looking for something as far as a relationship, or the love, or whatever it is that you're after, what's the feeling in back of it? Is this a feeling of belonging? Is it a feeling of security? Is it a feeling of warmth, of of cocooning? What's the feeling that you're after? And so it's bringing that feeling up, and having the feeling in your body, being able to, because what happens is that the way that this universe works is energy follows thought. And so when you start, one of the, Laura Day, who is a psychic woman that I used to read, she would talk about this idea of like cultivating a feeling within you. And one of the things that she said in her book is if you could, and Dr. Brown talked about this yesterday too. He said that we have this ability to change around our chi. And he says, if you wanted to warm your hands up, he says, what you do is you figure out how to focus the energy, your thoughts, into your hand to the point where they start or begin to tingle, or to harness some energy in there. If you think about it, sometimes you will see healers that with hands that glow or that are always warm, because that is what they use to heal. If you could imagine that, it takes something for a person to sit down without a script or without notes or anything else and just be in the receptive mode of receiving ideas, thoughts, whatever, and then conveying those. So there is this, there is something that needs to happen that then draws that experience in. So the same way Laura Day talks about, she says, you got to practice attracting the energy that you want to receive. So she talked about it in the sense of, what it feels like when you are sexually aroused or turned on. She says it is a feeling that you feel in your body without saying a word. Your body responds to things on a natural level. When you're attracted to somebody or you want to have sexual relations with somebody, your body heats up in spite of what your mind is telling it to do. Your mind may be someplace, y'all know, because if you've ever been a young boy, or if you've ever been, you and your body will start to respond based on a feeling of desire that it has. And it's almost as if there is this, you're pulling something towards you energetically just by your body being in a space of, I'm pulling this. I'm pulling this. That's because that's what we do. And so she says, if you could think about creating that same energy within you, that is that drawing power, feeling that in your body, just like to be turned on by an idea. What does it feel like? To be turned on by something. What does it feel like? And so, y'all, it don't take a lot to get you there. And sometimes we've got to stir things up. We let our body, our feelings, all of that stuff, we let it go to sleep as if it's going to die a slow death. We let it go to sleep and we don't cultivate that. But wonder if you started just let's test it out. I used to drive down the street and I would, in my mind, I would be remember in what's that show called? Ghostbusters. The Pillsbury Doughboy, and how the Pillsbury Doughboy kept expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding until it was huge. And the same thing happened in The Wiz, right? It was like the head of the Pillsbury Doughboy was up over top of the buildings, and it was going down the street like King Kong or something, it was. And so what I would do is I would imagine myself as a big bubble of love that was just like that. Just a huge bubble of love that would just, even when I drove down the street, this love would transcend the borders of my car. It would go and it would be, so big that I don't know how, but it was going down the street with me. And the funny thing about that is that when I would drive down the street and I was like projecting that level of love to that expanse, it was so interesting because, people could be standing out on the street and it's almost like they could know that something was coming, and they would be looking like, what's coming? Like, it was, to me, it was an immediate confirmation that what I was projecting was being felt, even if people didn't understand what they were feeling. They knew something was coming and they were looking to see what it was. It is so sometimes it seems like it's so minute. Sometimes it seems like it is, like it won't even matter. But a lot of times what I will do is I'm going to pray about a place before I get there. I'm going to pray about the people that I'm going to meet before I get there. I'm going to send out love on my pathway so that by the time I get there, y'all are ready and receptive to me before I come into the room. So if we think about this energy as a force that we can send forth in the world and have it modify our experiences for us. People talk about this thing of, I'm a manifest a parking space, or I'm going to get this, or I'm going to get that. But wonder if what we did is we started to shift around our environment to affect it in ways, and I know there's a lot of people, we don't, everybody want to be like the men all paused as I walked into the room kind of thing, right? It's how do we shift the energy in a room? How do we shift it for something that works for everybody, not just your ego, not just, right? But how do we make it so that, the impact that our presence has then, causes something to happen for the largest numbers of people? And if we don't have an intention that is working for the highest and best good for all, then how do we then shift that so that we can see, how do we, a change agent? How do we, there was in Bio's writing yesterday, there was this little place where he was talking about this conference that he went to. And he said it was a conference. When he got there, he was invited to speak as a speaker. And it was a conference on Black excellence. And he says, as he was standing around watching and listening, he says, I'm looking around the room. He says, and I'm thinking that these people must not know who I am or what I talk about. He was like, this whole idea of Black excellence, like he was sitting up there scratching his head, like, wait a minute, he said, and I gotta be true. He's got to be true, because it's not like he's putting on some phony garb and walking into a space and just telling them what he wants to hear. He's like, no, he says, I had to walk in there and say, hey, y'all know y'all still on the plantation? Not because they are still enslaved, but because their mindset has been fixed such that they don't know. They don't know that they, that all we did is we changed a little stuff around. And so, it was that kind of thing, to walk in there and people be like, what? What did he just say? Do you know who I am? And do you know what I've done? Do you know blah, blah, blah? And, and the whole thing is that because we straightened our hair and put on some nicer clothes, like we feel like we've arrived. And he's like saying, wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. But you still calling yourself Toby. Until you get back to Kunta Kinte, you still on the darn plantation. And so, it's how do we come in with our authentic selves and the things that we've learned and bring that authenticity, that love, that understanding about what's true for us. How do we bring that? How do we test that? How do we sit in that so that we allow it to teach us what it is that we're supposed to learn, and then we can go back out instead of thinking, oh, I've already arrived because I've got I got the straight hair, or I got the clothes, and how do I demonstrate that I got this on a deeper level? How do I go back and grab the cultural piece so that I understand who I am in the context that I am, and I can help move the ball forward? So, for all of us, y'all, I feel like I've been jogging down a path, and it's cool because what I know is that I'm coming with this purity of wanting to just spill out what it is that Spirit pours into me, and let me pour it out. Let me in all my getting get understanding, in all my giving be able to give that, in all my loving be able to love, in all of what I'm doing, let me bring that. And so that becomes all of us. What's the intent? What's the intention? So if the intention is love, how do I pull down all the barriers that block that? How do I continue to do what it is that I'm doing? Hey, Ephraim, how are you? Greetings to you on this amazing Friday. How do we just get into that and do it from that space of love, y'all? And that's the goal, I think, for me anyway. It's to continue to allow myself to be used in big and powerful ways, and whatever that may look like, to be a vehicle through which that flows. I'm so appreciative of it. I'm really appreciative of it. And what I, part of my desire is to, serve as an example to other folks who are even questioning, this idea about, where you are, what you give, if you got something out of this, if you get something, some kind of something that says, am I coasting along? Am I still, stuck? Am I, whatever it is, to just figure out where it is that you are on the spectrum, so that you can see what exactly it is that you want to do, what you want to bring to the fold. That idea of heating up, though, was a powerful thing for me when I first read it from Laura Day. Because I know how to get turned on about life. Do that. Try that. If you haven't done that for yourself, I love to talk about mirror work, and I love to talk about how powerful it is to look in the mirror and just say to yourself, I love you, right? Self, I love you, right? Just to speak to the person that's you see looking back in the mirror. That is a powerful, powerful thing. But now you want to talk about some other power. That getting yourself heated up and turned on about yourself. I don't know if y'all know what that could do for you, right? How it shifts around the energy that you move around in the world with. Like sometimes people don't know why they looking when I'm driving down the street. They don't know that I done sent out love before me, and they're responding to and turning around for that. And so when I wave at them and they wave back, they sitting up there looking at me like, we ain't in Mississippi. Why are we waving at each other? Oh, it's because I done already loved on you, right? But now wonder if you start loving on yourself like this, right? Heating up and all of that stuff. People be sitting up there looking at you like, I want a bite. I wanted some of that. I want, because now you have worked on this feeling of within yourself. Yeah. Tracy, I should have known. Good morning. Yes, say heat up. Yes, heat up and turn yourself on. You know what it's like to turn on. Just practice it. Yeah, you don't have to sit there all day doing it. You don't have to, I ain't telling you to go and masturbate or anything like that, because I know people got issues with that. But heat up about yourself. Look at yourself and tell yourself you love you. Just, the response that you desire to create it in yourself. Oh, y'all, this is so good. It's so good. And if you are rejecting you, then you know why other people do. This is something that, it works if you work it. And if you are judging yourself, if you are sitting in your space and you're telling yourself you're not worthy of this, then there's, girl, I forgive you. Or guy, I forgive you. And you are not the monster that I've made you out to be. You are not what somebody might have told you. And to get to a place where you work on the I love you enough to turn yourself on. That's work to do. And y'all might think that, how is that spiritual, right? Without self-love, you can't get to spiritual. It's because that's down that's the path. That's the path. One of the things that Joe Dispenza says when we start meditating is he starts talking about drawing up that air, like we're, to breathe in through our body, like we're sucking the air through a straw and tightening up as we go. And you got to get in touch with you. This is the space where it happens. This is the space where it happens. Get in touch with you. This is, yes, your body is the vehicle that you use. It is not the totality of you, but it is the vehicle that you use while you are here. And without loving it, you are like, you gotta get on the path. And that body is a part of it for right now, right? Until it ain't. It's a part of it for right now. So figure out how to love on it. Love on yourself. Love, 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 love. All right, y'all. That's what I got for you. If you got any questions, of course, you can hit me up on Messenger, or you can type it here, or anything else like that. I am I'm always willing to be of help or of service. But yeah, y'all. Ooh, just feeling that energy, that. It's Friday, y'all. It's Friday. Oh, my goodness. All right, y'all. So know that I love and adore you. You know that if anything here is that I said anything that is wrong, you'll forget it before I say bye, right? But if it's right, it should resonate in you, and you'll know that it's the truth, as if you heard it for the very first time. Y'all, I don't know about y'all, but I'm heated up everywhere. It's like my body is on fire. So I gotta get off of here. so that I can calm myself down. It is, I feel fire. Oh, that's a song, isn't it? Fire. All right, y'all. Love you. Have an amazing Friday. Can you see the sweat coming in? I'm just like hot. Too hot to handle. All right. Have a blessed